Hello everyone. In this video we're going to be taking a look at an article. Now this was posted on June 11th. It's an opinion piece from NJ.com. I just have to call out bullshit here on the author, David M. Macheska, because his story is complete and total bullshit. It's easily proven that he's making something up, pulling it out of his ass to try to push a fucking narrative here. It's so funny, and you'll see where I'm talking about as we get into the article here. Anyway, let's see what David has to say here. The title, Presumption of Innocence Should Be Everyone's Right, Not a Privilege. Well, it is everyone's right. And he's trying to do this with with Floyd basically trying to pass a fake $20 bill and get a pack of smokes for free and steal. He's trying to do a comparison here. It's actually kind of funny. And his comparison, like I said, is complete and total bullshit. He's made it up. Anyway, let's get into this. By now, it is, or should be, a widely known fact. The spasms of violence that have gripped our nation in recent days were triggered by a wholly unjustified police killing of George Floyd. Well, what happened was wrong. It wasn't about race, because when they have a over a year-long working relationship together as security at a nightclub, aka they were bouncers together, there's more than this whole thing of it was a racist cop. There's underlying issues like bad blood, perceived slights, whatever the case may be. But anyway, George Floyd, an African-American man arrested for allegedly trying to pass a counterfeit $20 bill. I thought it might be instructive to share this story. Now, here's the thing. The cops were called on it. All right? He wasn't cooperating. Of course, that's going to escalate the situation. If he isn't cooperating, it could be the fact that maybe he knew the bill was fake as fuck. I mean, I'm not trying to justify what happened to him because it was wrong. All right, with Floyd. I'm just saying there's other circumstances going on here, but hey, whatever. Now, here's where the bullshit starts getting slung. Several months ago, my wife went to a local Chinese restaurant to pick up a dinner order. As she handed over the cash, the woman behind the register refused the money, insisting it was counterfeit. Now, she's picking up dinner for both of them, and she's spending $20. This is where I'm calling bullshit, because no fucking Chinese food restaurant, all right, can you feed two people for $20 fucking dollars. It does not happen. Okay, 2 combo plates, all right, are going to be more than $20. But hey, let's just push this fake fucking narrative, this fake fucking bullshit that you're trying to do here, to create a narrative. I say you're a lying sack of shit, dude, David, and that your wife didn't have this happen to her. Because if she's spending $20 on Chinese food for both of you, there's some seriously fucking twisted shit going on. Like, you eat like birds, and I hope you at least shit like elephants type of stuff. Needless to say, my wife was quite surprised. Neither she nor I are counterfeiters, and in any other circumstances, we would likely have found ourselves unable to distinguish between a real $20 bill and a fake. She asked the cashier to procure another $20 bill, a real one, to compare with the bill she had just tried to use. The cashier complied. The fake bill was larger than the real one by perhaps a few millimeters, and it had a slightly brownish hue. But the differences were unmistakable with the two bills were held side by side. You do realize that sometimes when they cut paper, the paper for money, you might have, say, a slight difference in size on, say, one end of it or whatever, because it might be the bottom of the sheet and it wasn't quite aligned perfectly or whatever. It's been known to happen, but that's your automatic proof, a couple millimeters, that it was instantly fake. And the idea that the bill could turn brown, in circulation, that happens as well. Just a thought. It gets dirty. It's going to start turning like brownish colored, because of the dirt. It's so funny. They spent $20 on a dinner for two at a Chinese food restaurant. Yeah, okay. Oh, this is so funny. Only a person trained in handling currency, such as a cashier or bank teller, would have been able to spot the difference without using the real currency as a basis for comparison. Excuse me, but cashiers aren't fucking trained, you dumb shit, to figure out what is counterfeit money. That's why they hand cashiers pens. So that way, they just swipe the pen across it, and if it turns a certain color, it's legit. That's not training, you dumb fuck. Wow. Bank tellers tend to do the same thing because good counterfeits are out there now that have been in circulation that you can't generally tell are counterfeit. So you even have bank tellers using that method. Did the woman take your fake $20 bill and use the pen on it? That would have instantly said whether or not it was counterfeit. Would have solved the problem. With the definitive proof that her $20 was indeed fake, my wife had little choice but to withdraw cash from the store's ATM to pay for our dinner. So, you're still going to push this story that you had dinner for two for $20 from a Chinese food restaurant. Oh, you must really eat like birds and shit like elephants. You will note what did not happen. The cashier did not call the police. My wife was not detained, questioned, or arrested. She was not brutalized by an overzealous police officer. She came home, a bit shaken by the experience, but with our food order and the counterfeit $20 bill, and thankfully very much alive. Did I mention that my wife is white like me? Oh, of course. I mean, it's got to be about the white thing. It isn't the fact that, Floyd was high as a kite, had a chip on his shoulder, wasn't exactly cooperating with police. I'm sure when he was confronted, you got to take into account the fact that when he was confronted by the cashier, the people at the store, he basically was kind of like, fuck you. And that's why they called the cops. So if Floyd hadn't have been like, no, fuck you, and went, oh, sorry, it was a counterfeit $20 bill? Like you're talking about here, you dumb shit, with your little fallacy of Chinese dinner, a dinner for two from a Chinese restaurant for $20 fucking dollars. If he had done what your wife did and was like, oh, well, just let me see that, and just gave another $20 bill, there wouldn't have been a fucking issue. The cops wouldn't have been called. He wouldn't have encountered Chauvin, the guy he worked with for over a year, that it's almost clearly a situation of that they had issues between each other, or Chauvin had issues with him, and that's what led to what's going on. But see, you want to leave these things out of the narrative. Because he didn't do what your wife did. He told them basically to go fuck themselves when they said, hey, you handed us a fake $20 bill. So that's why they called the cops. So now if he had done what your wife did, he'd still be fucking alive. But see, if he's telling them to go fuck themselves, I mean, he didn't put it that way as far as I know. But if he's telling them that, all right, odds are, just saying, when they're like confronting him on the fact that the $20 bill was fake, and he's acting like that, odds are he knows it's fake. And he doesn't want to have to go and deal with it. Now, he got caught. If he was smart, he would have just went, if that's the case, I should say. If he was smart, he should have just went, oop, I'm sorry. I'll give you another $20 bill. Let me take care of that for you. I apologize. But he didn't do that. See, got to leave that out of your, because then your narrative just falls apart. Thinking back on that evening in the context of recent events, I can't help but ask myself, what if my wife had been black? Well, if she had done what she did in the first place, it wouldn't have been a fucking issue, because if Floyd had done that, the cops wouldn't have been called and everything would have been hunky fucking dory. The convenience store would have got their money, he would have had his cigarettes, and there wouldn't have been any shit to deal with. Just a thought. A valid one at that. Would the scenario inside the restaurant have played out the same way? Yes, it would have, because your wife wasn't being like Floyd, basically telling them to go fuck themselves. And when I'm forced by the reality of the situation to admit that it might not have, that's when it dawns on me. People, especially white people, hate the expression white privilege because it's a fucking fallacy created by lefty fucking champagne socialists and the like, okay, to justify their own fucking racism. Because, they look at things and they go, well, those people didn't get back up, raise themselves up from their current conditions. So, which because of who they are, because of their skin color. So, yeah, that's fucking racism. That's this whole thing of looking at that white privilege shit. That's how it was created, because people looked and went, well, I managed to succeed. I busted my butt to get where I was, but they can't do it. It's the whole idea of low expectations with blacks and other non-whites. To many of them, it conjures images of multi-million-dollar homes, expensive cars, swimming pools, lavish vacations, a lifestyle far removed from the experience of most people, regardless of skin pigmentation, because that was how it was started. That was the origination of it. They have that stuff because of white privilege. Now it is, you could be lower middle class, and somehow, when you're busting your ass just to keep a roof over your head, somehow you got fucking white privilege, according to these idiots. And I find it fucking hilarious that they try to push this shit. And keep pushing it, and keep pushing it. They're like a broken record, all right? And they don't realize, no matter how much you keep pushing this shit, it's never going to stick unless you literally indoctrinate several generations. And they've been trying, don't get me wrong, but that hasn't happened. So they're kind of fucked. And excuse my phone, I apologize. I should have muted it. What these people fail to appreciate is that there's another kind of privilege. One that has to do with the presumption of innocence. Oh, you mean the constitutionally guaranteed right of innocent until proven guilty? You know how our whole legal system works? Because you can't have the government just say you did this. You have to go through a trial. It's all laid out, in our doctrine of our government, that we have this. You can't incriminate yourself. You can't do all these things. That's what I mean by laid out in the Constitution. Because that's innocent until proven guilty. If you can't be compelled to incriminate yourself, it's kind of hard to say you're fucking guilty. It's those types of things. Constitution, so here you are trying to say, there's this other privilege. No, the presumption of innocence already starts. But when you literally have Floyd tell the store, the cashier, to go fuck themselves, basically, and try to walk off instead of just exchanging out the $20 bill, and he calls the cops, and the cops show up, and he's probably going, well, fuck you, it wasn't fake, fuck you, type of shit, giving them attitude. What do you expect? Shit gets escalated. All he had to do was, when confronted by the clerk, is go, oh, I made a mistake. I didn't realize it was fake. Here, let me exchange that out for you. I apologize. And he could have tried to pawn his fake $20 fucking bill off on someone else down the road. But he probably didn't even have $20 to his name, which is why most likely he was using a fake $20 bill. And then got combative and defensive when he was confronted by the person at the store. Which, your wife didn't do that. Now, did she? Do you think if she had done that and demanded her fucking food, which actually, it didn't even get that far, because the second the bill was handed to the Chinese, this figment of your imagination, the lady behind the counter at the Chinese food restaurant that you spent $20 on a meal for two on, when she saw that $20 bill, your food probably hadn't been exchanged. So that's another thing. She handed the bill back. The bill was exchanged, and it was caught before it was put in the drawer. Went and talked to him, and he was like, well, blah, 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 blah. And basically, fuck you. I got my cigarettes. Go fuck yourself. I'm obviously, that's more of what it came down to, as opposed to what he actually said. I want to make that clear. So the cops get called in. If he had just done what your wife did, like I keep repeating, no problems. A privilege that was thankfully granted to my wife that evening in the Chinese restaurant, and one that was brutally denied by George Floyd and dozens of other Americans based solely on their skin color. Excuse me, but David, this wasn't based solely on his skin color. The clerk tried to give him the chance, as I've said multiple times, to make it right and to give them a legit $20 bill. Confronted him. Kept saying, give me a real $20 bill. Give me a real $20 bill. This is counterfeit. Or give me back the cigarettes, and I'll give you back your $20 bill. He didn't want to do those things. He basically was like, fuck you. You got the $20 bill. I got my shit. Fuck off. So the cops are called. When that kind of happens, the police come into the situation looking at him like he could be very well, trying to avoid shit. And then I'm sure the exchange prior to it, all right, I'm sure he wasn't very cooperative with the police. And then that afforded Chauvin the situation to let his fucking pent up fucking bullshit take over, and from them working together, most likely, and that's what led to what happened. Anyway, this is ridiculous shit. I've covered it well enough. I'm going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.